Hey everyone, I hope you're doing good on this Thursday. So, I wanted to continue the conversation about encouraging good relationships and desirable behaviors in our children. So, a lot of you already have great relationships with your kids. You feel like your kids' behaviors are pretty good. So this is a way to continue those things. But also, if you are struggling, either with your relationship with your child, it seems to be very combative, or your children just has some difficult behaviors that whatever strategies you're using, they just don't seem to be getting the results you want. So this is in reference to that. So, what I want to focus on in regards to this topic is one of the pillars of the Triple P principles, which is having realistic expectations. So, this is kind of where parenting planning can really start. Having realistic expectations can be a really driving force on whether or not we are successful or whether or not we hit a lot of barriers with our children as far as our relationship or their behavior goes. The big thing with having realistic expectations is understanding that every human, child, adult, we all develop at a different rate. We learn differently. We have different experiences. We have different nature and nurture around us. So, how a child is nurtured, how much attention or affection or positive praise they get, their nature. The physical environment around them, their heredity, all of those things have a great deal to do with their behavior. So that's kind of the first step is having a realistic expectation. Look at your child's environment and how they are treated, how as a parent you respond to your child on a regular basis, and that helps guide the expectation of behavior that we have for them. Then there's our own expectation for ourselves. So, are we expecting ourselves to be a perfect parent all the time? If so, then that's just not realistic because there is no perfect parent, period. And there's definitely not perfection in parenting all the time. As parents, we all make mistakes. Even those people that only post the best of their children or the milestones on Facebook, they have stuff going on that maybe is not as pleasing to post on social media. So we've all done it. We tend to post the best of ourselves and the best of our kids on social media. So just understand it's not realistic to expect that everything is sunshine and rainbows when it comes to parenting our kids. So, with that in mind, the major thing I really want to focus on today is understanding what science has taught us about the brain and its development. So think about your child or think about a baby. Think about yourself if you've seen baby pictures of yourself and the transition and the transformation that happens from conception to adulthood. Physically, it's very easy to see. There's this dramatic change that happens, there's dramatic growth. Very intricate things that change physically. We go from, not really making many sounds other than crying to be able to have complex thought. We're able to write. We're able to write music, poetry. We're able to have very complex thoughts and speak those thoughts. So think about that in the context of how the brain develops. So the brain, that's a part of the body that we just don't see. We don't have eyes on the brain. But as the physical body is growing, so is the brain. And the brain is the main, it's the main control center for how our body functions. It's our main control center for how we behave. It is the main control center for how your child behaves. It's the main control center for how your child receives and gives information. So it's very important as we remember the major physical transformation that we have from conception all the way through and through adulthood, that the brain is also having major transformations and growth during this time. And so why I bring this up is because behavior in our children, when they're behaving in a difficult way, it can often look very irrational to us. We can often think, oh my gosh, that doesn't even make sense. Sometimes it even looks kind of psychotic. So sometimes our teenager or our preschooler or our toddler, it can really look like they are just, they're just acting crazy. What they're saying, what they're doing, how they're screaming, it makes no sense. And whenever we think about the human brain and the fact that the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until around the age of 25, then it makes perfect sense that this main control center for rational thought and being able to think of long-term consequences, it's just not formed yet. So when you're thinking of realistic expectations, consider your child's brain development and know that they just don't have the full capacity for rational thought. So how you rationalize things is not how they rationalize things. When you, as the parent, know a long-term consequence, like running out in traffic could cause death, the child typically is not thinking and is not yet capable of thinking that that's even a possibility. So with that in mind, just consider how we model behavior. If we want our children to speak respectfully, then we need to consider how the brain is receiving information about respect and respectful behavior. So is our child being taught how to speak calmly and respectfully to other people? And knowing that our children learn most by what we do and not by what we say. So if we're saying speak respectfully and calmly, then we need to make sure that we're modeling that. If we are unable to regulate our own emotions and we're flying off the handle, then it's realistic to expect that our child will do the same thing. So consider these things. Consider whether or not our expectations are reasonable and realistic, I should say. And if not, we might just need to fine-tune our expectations. So just like yourself, if you were to go and want to improve your physical fitness, it's really unrealistic to assume that our physical fitness is going to improve if we just maintain what we're doing and we don't change and add some better strategies. So it's the same way with our kids. It's unrealistic to expect that our child's behavior is going to improve if we keep doing the same thing that hasn't been working in the past. So I hope this helps you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I do have an opening or two, so if you're wanting to get in on private sessions, please reach out to me quickly because spots are filling up. Thanks, guys. Bye.